I'm not a good whistler,
Me either.
but whatever. But that's good. The Yulbrenner.
I think
That's fine.
where I first noticed that my first fears is when I was quite young.
Mm-hmm.
Two actual stories is the woman who was babysitting for us, for my mother,
Yeah.
took us across a bridge in Gladstone with the Clackamas River running below it. And the walkway, there was gaps between the boards. And I could look down and it scared me. And of course, she wouldn't let me stay in that fear. She just took me on. But I've been afraid of heights, I think. I think maybe that started it. The Astoria was a later one.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I did is when I was quite young, my mother put me in hula dancing classes, which put us in front of some large audiences. And I learned then that the anticipation of the fear was greater than the fear itself. And I've kind of used that as a mantra since then, just to step into it, because it's my head telling me I'm more afraid than I really am.
Good.
And that's helped me tremendously. How about you, Joe?
I faced the height fear, and I started working downtown, which is skyscrapers. And one of my regular patrols, I was going to have to go up onto the building, up on the top, and check out all the corners. And to get over my fear of heights, I told myself, oh, I'll just go to the local water park and try the high dive. And I realized the thing that will give you over fear very quickly is watching youngsters run past you to get to the high dive. It's always, I'm afraid, and I can accept that, but I really don't like the people going in front of me and seem elated by it. And when I got up to the high board, I realized my fear of public was worse, because without a jacket, I look like a hoodie full of chowder. And when I got to the high dive and I looked down and everyone stopped to watch, and I realized, oh, it's because everybody else coming up has been a 40-pound child, and now they're about to watch a cannonball for real. And that was me getting over my fear of heights.
Mm-hmm. Did they clap when you hit the water, or what happened?
I think over the sound of rushing water and sputtering and the waves lapping against the sides of the walls, yes, there was probably some clapping.
Not claptrap. Okay. Okay. I'd like us to talk about the fear of public speaking, bring that into our discussion. And we've all had that in one way or another, I think. I myself had a very talkative father and had to fight to get a word in edgewise. So it wasn't as fearful for me as it was into forced competition. And to this day, I'm not so crazy about being a competitor, because somebody wins and somebody loses, and I don't get elated when I'm winning, and I don't get super happy when I'm losing. So,
Joe, you've competed, haven't you?
I have. I think that competition is only good for myself because it forces me out of my comfort zone. It's not necessarily about the winning and losing, it's about the large audience who is there, and they're expecting a good speech. They're expecting you to be on the ball. They're expecting a good story out of you, and that's what I'm mostly looking for in competition. And then the fear, of course, is that's my own battle. It's not them.
now here in Salem, Kaiser, I think there are about almost a dozen clubs, most of them daytime, and some of them meet in governmental buildings, such as, I think, the Revenue Department. There is Toasting Eccles on Wednesday. I don't know. I know the one Bootstrappers meets Monday at University of Phoenix along Hawthorne. I'm not sure when the Kaiser Club meets. I think it might be on a Thursday. Kaiser Communicators. And just check the website, which is Toastmasters International.
It's www.toastmasters.org.
No, international, Toastmasters.org.
Just www.toastmasters.org.
And it's not just about making speeches, it's also about being sharp at giving repartee or responses to questions or challenges. They have this table topics part. Mention what table topics is about. Phyllis.
Well, Joe,
Joe.
let's just show him a little bit about table topics.
Okay.
Ask me a question.
Phyllis, what does your joy look like now?
What does my joy look like now? My joy now is waking up in the morning and knowing that I survived the night.
Wow.
As I get older, that's always a challenge when I go to sleep. Am I going to wake up or not? The joy is knowing that I can get up in the morning, and I do. Now, what we just showed you is table topics, impromptu speaking. Joe asked me a question. I didn't pause, which I should have, to think about what he asked me, but I had an answer ready for him.
Right.
And then
Spontaneity.
I gave him the
Yes.
spontaneous answer with an open body and close.
Okay, sounds good. And any of this can be witnessed for free at attending a Toastmaster meeting. So if you're having a slow day and you need a relief from all the stuff that's been fed your way at work, not of all that appetizing some days, spend an hour, hour and a half out on the road or your lunch hour and go to a Toastmasters meeting as an observer and see what you can enjoy and come out of it and be a better public speaker. But you also learn a lot of different businesses, agencies have staff meetings of various kinds, and it makes you sharper to think on your feet or your seat and get a piece of the action so that you can become more assertive, if you're not that way now, and make your point and learn how to condense your thoughts, which I don't always do. Condense.
Well, you know, and it's not just about learning how to communicate effectively. What Toastmasters also does, what they're known for, is creating leaders.
Yes.
Because you learn how to lead a meeting, which is very important in the business world. You know how to be concise, as you said, but it also teaches you how to manage a team. Because when you're Toastmaster of the day, you have an entire team of people who are supporting you in that meeting. So you learn how to put those people into place and how to supervise them, how to do evaluations so that they know that they are doing well or where they need to improve. It's all about leadership.
Right.
The speaking is just one part of what Toastmasters is all about.
Yes,
So
well.
anybody who wants to learn more about leadership should at least go visit a club.
Okay. And don't think just purely about business. Those of us who are active in Rotary or Kiwanis or similar organizations, Elks, Sons of Italy, Sons, Daughters of the Philippines, et cetera,
Yep.
And you also have neighborhood associations where if something really bugs you and bothers you and you want to get it off your chest, you learn just how to package it. That's what it is. It's verbal packaging. That's a quick way to
That's a great way to say it. I like that.
2 words for
Yeah.
for the purpose of which we exist and all. So, do we have any thoughts for how we want to spend this coming Halloween? I want to mention one other thing. Well, okay. There are 4 times during the year we could do extraordinary out of the box things. The first is January 1st, which is New Year's Day, and we can drink to excess, and usually it's allowable unless we get into an accident. The second is April Fool's Day, where we can tell white lies and not so white lies and say, well, it's April Fool's Day, so I'm allowed to do it, I'm permitted. The third is July 4th, in which we can make lots of noise with firecrackers and what the blazes in the sky, and we can go overboard with our decibel level. And finally, we could pretend we're somebody we're not, like a few politicians we know, and we could wear masks and go in costume and scare people or attempt to and exploit them for all the candy they're worth. Now, if you think about it, it's almost exact quarters of the year. January 1st, April 1st, July 4th, and October 31st. It means every 3 months we have a safety valve.
There
I
you
bet
go.
you guys never thought about that one.
Did not. How about you, Joe?
No, that one escapes me.
Okay, so that's something for you guys all to think about. And next time you have a time off, October, Halloween, or coming up New Year's Day, you'll think your quarterly safety valve is due. Any closing remarks? We have about half a minute now.
Well, I want to say thank you for letting us come on your show again. This is always a lot of fun. And thank you, Joe, for coming.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Go with the flow, Joe. Okay.
Oh, you know my nickname.
Yes, good. Now, I want to ask you out in the audience to come up with thoughts dealing with the realm of communications that we could entertain future shows on. So just call CCTV and leave a message for either Arlen or Kelly and pass it along to us, and we will take you seriously. So long, and have a spooky Halloween.
Bye.